Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen, and today I have another special guest. I only have special guests. And her name is Dr. Right? Marni Hill Foderaro.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, good. Phew. So welcome, Marni. It's a real pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you, Susan. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
And let me tell everyone a little bit about you.
Sure.
Marni is an award-winning and celebrated author, speaker, and educator. We'll talk about some of that. She earned her doctorate in education and completed postdoctoral studies at Harvard after a very successful and rewarding 35-year career as a high school special education teacher, with 12 years as a university adjunct professor. Marni's life was forever changed after experiencing numerous trauma-induced STEs, spiritually transformative encounters. Marni's 2020 Best Books award-winning spiritual fiction, God Came to My Garage Sale, excuse me, is prominently endorsed by James Redfield, best-selling author of the Celestine Prophecy series of books. In addition to her speaking engagements and various writing endeavors on embracing spirituality after surviving domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, and parental alienation, Foderaro is a contributing author to numerous anthology books. And Marni's latest prominently endorsed book series is entitled True Deceit, False Love. All very exciting.
Yeah, actually, books 2 and 3 are coming out this week.
Oh my God.
This is book 1. This is book 1 of it. So the True Deceit, False Love series. And but yeah, books 2 and 3, I just heard from the publisher this morning. They'll be released this week. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How neat.
Yeah.
How neat. And just as an aside, for everyone to know that Marni lives down in the Caribbean.
Yeah. I moved here 3 years ago after retiring from my teaching career, but also to get as far away from my abuser as possible. But, you know, I'm in a beautiful area and just am so happy in the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I bet. Yeah. No, you look happy.
I am happy.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit. You really made a huge transformation and kind of, and I say this in a wonderful way, upended your whole life. Just kind of threw it up and in the air and said, okay, how's it going to come down? What, maybe, just give us a little more information and tell us what it was that kind of pushed you to doing that and to really jumping into this area of writing and spirituality and so on and so forth.
Sure. I'm happy to share that with you. I spent my entire life, basically, until I was, I think it's like 57, in the Chicago suburbs. So I grew up in Lake Forest, Illinois, and I went to college in Illinois, did all my advanced degrees in Illinois, raised my family, my 2 beautiful children in Illinois. And I was about 2 years away from retiring after teaching special ed high school in the Chicago suburbs for 35 years, with 12 of those years as an adjunct professor in the curriculum department at Northern Illinois University.
Oh, wow.
And so I was very, very busy with my family, even though my kids were adults at the time. There was kind of like a defining moment where I really knew that I needed to leave my marriage after 27 years. And, it was a very scary thing to do, but I I knew I had to do it, just because my values of honesty, goodness, compassion, kind of working together were very, very different than my spouses at the time. And I had red flags my whole marriage, honestly, even before I said I do. Just like many of us, but I was just so driven to have a family and to just sort of live the American dream and, work as in a career I loved and raise a family. So I just ignored so many red flags, so many immoral, unethical behaviors that, I just ignored it, and just like a lot of people do, a lot of men and women find themselves after many years needing to make a change.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard, and it oftentimes, I mean, I love your podcast in that it's, after 50, and lots of times it is after 50 that our light bulb moments happen. But anyway, I chose to do that, and I lost everything. I mean, and if any of your listeners or viewers have experienced domestic violence or narcissistic abuse, and then eventually it was parental alienation was a big part of it, you lose everything. So the ex-spouse makes sure that you are homeless. I believed our house was paid off for over 10 years. No, it was in foreclosure and taxes weren't paid. And I mean, even though we both had very good salaries, his was double mine. But he was using our money elsewhere, not for our family and not for our house, definitely. So I found myself really, I made this decision to leave, which I knew there would be consequences. I mean, I didn't have any idea that the abuse would ramp up, and for years, even now, I'm still being taken to court by the ex-husband, even though we had no minor children. They just are so obsessed with you, even if you've moved on and they've moved on. My ex, I think, is even engaged to our next door neighbor who I lived next to for 15 or 20 years or something like that. I don't know. I mean, and I could care less about that. They probably deserve each other and, whatever. But the thing is, they don't seem to move on. They want to keep kind of, stalking you and harassing you. And, it's very hard for them with their own inadequacies and, the fact that someone left them when they're trying to keep up this false image of, perfect family, perfect house, all that. When really that all kind of got exposed by him more than anything. But, anyway, they do just continue to harass you. So when I ended up in a wonderful partnership with a very, very good friend, and he and I decided to travel the world, which we did. We spent a month in Thailand, and I know that your best friend is from Japan, so you have some or a good friend, from your childhood or whatever. Just experiencing other cultures and other people and other lands and definitely other foods is so much fun. So, and we spent a month in Israel and a month in India. And then we also would just hop on a plane and we would travel all over the United States, but we just had so much fun with that. And so we knew we wanted to, when my retirement, when I finished, because I still had a couple more years of teaching. And he timed his retirement at the same time. We chose to move to the Caribbean because he's an astronomer and a scuba diver and I love the ocean. I love the sun. I love the warm weather, although spending a lifetime in the Midwest, I always enjoyed the beauty of the seasons And, you know, so it wasn't like I wanted to escape that at all. I just love that. In fact, when fall rolls around, I sort of miss, you know, the campfires and, you know, the pumpkin patches and the beautiful fall leaves. But, you know, we can always go somewhere and experience that. So anyway, in the midst of losing everything, I ended up having to have yet another garage sale. And, but this garage sale was a little bit different than anything else I had ever experienced, gone to, or given. And, you know, it was a very low point because, you know, you're pulling everything out from your house. You know, I knew I couldn't stay in our home. I had to get rid of a lot of material possessions. There was no way, I had no money. I couldn't afford you know, to just move to another house and bring these items or whatever. And, you know, even though in the divorce decree, it said that I got everything or whatever, that, you know, he came and took all sorts of things, which is fine. I was very happy to let him. I just said, take anything that you want. You know, the bottom line was, I did not want to be with this person at all.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
but anyway, I was left, of course, with you know, having to get the house ready for the foreclosure short sale or whatever. And so I had a garage sale that changed my life. And at this garage sale, there were just miracles that happened, you know, and mind you, I have an atheist background. Slowly as an adult towards my 50s, I embraced religion and God, and, you know, did a lot of reading myself, actually became a lector in a Catholic church for 6 years to just learn about the Bible and learn about, you know, is there something more to this earth? You know, is there a divine source somewhere? And but I was shown that, and you know, so it prompted me, all these different experiences prompted me to attend IANS meetings, which is International Association for Near-Death Studies, and learn about the afterlife from the point of view of people that had died in a car accident, you know, or in a hospital, operating room or something like that. You know, even I met some people that were murdered and you know, but that were able to survive that, come back. And so all that research, hearing other people's accounts as well as my own experiences, just I was just encouraged, you know, to write about it. So I wrote this spiritual fiction. God came to my garage sale, and it won the 2020 Best Books Award. It was prominently endorsed by James Redfield, who wrote the Self-Healing Prophecy. And then just last week, I won another award right here with the a 5-star review, and it's an award, and they give out stickers for that. And so that was pretty exciting. So that was like my journey into writing. I had finished the book before I moved to the Caribbean. And then after, you know, and I had always kind of, just to put my thoughts together about my domestic violence, I always did research and writing about that. But then, you know, just I really kind of took it to another level. And many of the people that actually provided advice that I would follow on YouTube channels, or, you know, researchers that are very familiar with parental alienation and domestic violence and narcissistic abuse, they endorsed my books. And so I have just, you know, on my website, which is the title of my spiritual fiction, God Came to My Garage Sale.com.
I'll put that in the show notes for people.
Oh, sure. And you could go and look at the various books that I've been involved with. And then I got involved in anthology books, which was a lot of fun for me. I met so many wonderful people. So those anthology books, for those of you that don't know, are books that someone puts together with a theme, and then they have contributing authors that contribute a chapter. So that was a
Yeah.
lot of fun, connected me with some amazing people. I did 5 anthology books, in the last couple of years. And I thought, okay, I'm done with that. I have my 4-book True Deceit, False Love series, but I did just recently sign up for one more anthology book because I absolutely love the person who is putting this together. And I love the topic it's called Passing the Pearls. And it's about our wisdom from our grandmothers. And I'm going to actually highlight my late mother, who our paths were very, very parallel in many ways. And my light bulb moments, putting the pieces of the family trauma together, didn't really happen until, 2022. So in my 60s, I've really come to realize, hey, everything is really connected. So that is pretty much my journey, how I made it here to the Caribbean.
Wow. So
I know it's a lot of stuff.
No, but it's so interesting. I always love hearing people's stories, and that's one of the reasons why I love doing the interviews, because it's always like all these breadcrumbs, and
Definitely.
people just kind of follow the breadcrumbs, and everything starts to come together, and pretty soon they've got a loaf of bread,
right? But it takes so much time. It takes going through so many challenges and dark times to get to the realization of, coming into your own, and seeing the light. And, I finally feel like I'm there, at that point. Of course, I'm always learning and growing and open to all new experiences, but I really feel I've turned a corner in many ways.
Yeah. Oh no, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. And you're just how you show up in life, is so open, and I can't think of the right words, but anyways, you definitely are reflecting all of that.
Well, it's important to take care of yourself.
Well,
but we all go through different stages in our lives, but I think it's, as we start to follow the breadcrumbs, like you said, and put that loaf of bread together, then you start realizing your own passions, your own path and purpose. And you start self-actualizing. And when that happens, it's hard not to show it externally or internally. I'm exactly the same person as I always was. I was always a happy person that believed in love, goodness, honesty, and compassion. And so I didn't change that, but I just released a lot of negativity and, toxic situations, family and friends that just were there, but just not very positive in my life. And that's very hard to do, because you feel connected to people. You are connected by your family tree, but you can also be connected by trauma bonds. But at some point you realize, hey, I don't want to put up with this anymore. I don't need this anymore. And I'm not being selfish and thinking that I'm better than them or anything like that. I just know what works for me. And I want to live in happiness and peace. And I am so, especially after the last couple of years, I just don't need the drama and the trauma. I don't need it. I just want to live a happy life. And, I'm here with a wonderful person in a wonderful place. Wonderful time in my life, it's time. It's time.
Yeah. No, and I totally understand that. I mean, I have my own stories, and
we all do.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. You have to put yourself first.
But I wasn't ready. I went last
No.
year, even a few months ago, I wasn't ready, but I'm ready now, and
Yeah.
it takes a conscious decision to say, okay, enough is enough.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to live a happier life. And when you release negative people and situations
Mm.
that just aren't serving your highest good, it opens up your heart and soul and mind
Yeah.
to having wonderful experiences and meeting some fascinating people, and that are more, that are more like-minded with you, and more enjoyable, and and
Yeah.
honesty is such a big factor for me. And I didn't realize I surrounded myself, in my life, with such dishonest people. And I don't want to tolerate that anymore. I mean, this value of mine is the number one value, and of course, I believe love is the number one vibration, and that's what I'm about. And so I finally am
Mhm.
shedding the chains that were binding
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I totally agree. I mean, I was just thinking that just, a minute or two ago, that everything is based on love.
Mhm.
And, so much of the negativity in the world is from people who just don't even know. They don't even know what it is to be loved.
No,
And
there's
that's
some
what's
people that
sad,
are
really.
not wired as empathetic, loving human beings. There's so much
Yeah.
corruption and deceit and
Oh, yeah.
malevolence, even within our own circles, where people are, valuing things
Mm.
that are not what it's all really about.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I've been so thrilled to hear and follow and read people that have had near-death experiences,
Yeah.
because all of them, every single one, comes back saying that it's all about love, that is the vibration that's the highest. And
Mhm.
and it seems to make a lot of sense, and that's what I feel like I've always been about. And for whatever reason, with my own childhood traumas and my own intergenerational abuse, I kept on being a people pleaser, and I kept on overgiving, and I kept
Yeah.
on accepting people in my life that were not positive, or just allowing relationships or situations to continue way past their expiration time. But
Mhm.
it's because of my own, you know, childhood traumas and wounds, core wounds.
Right.
But, learning, and part of this, my writing, which has been so neat, I've
Mhm.
gotten to meet just amazing people. And
Yeah.
many of them are the ones that have endorsed my book.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a huge list of them. So I would encourage your listeners, maybe, and viewers, to maybe go on my website to see, yeah, who did endorse her book. But
Uh-huh.
some of those people just, made a lot of sense, and they were part of, me putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Mhm.
And I need to practice what I preach. If going no contact is healthier, I need to cut some ties here and go no contact, and just
Mhm.
and it's been just the best thing for me that I have,
Yeah.
done that. And of course, people that are malevolent or have narcissistic tendencies, or that are very, I don't know, just negative,
Yeah.
judgmental, or whatever, they want to keep the chaos going. They
Oh
want
my
to keep
God, yeah.
engaging in you. They don't want to let you go, because you're like a source of supply for them. They
Yeah.
love the drama and the trauma. And
Mhm.
I just don't. I'm done.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have somebody, we're not going to get into it, but I have somebody in my life,
So
absolutely
maybe
same.
it's just synchronistic here, Susan.
Yeah.
Maybe there's no coincidence that I'm talking about this to get you or maybe some of your, audience to think,
Right.
okay, maybe I have a similar situation and maybe
Mhm.
it's time,
Yeah. Oh no,
for a new
yeah,
life.
no, my time was, oh my God, I don't know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, I cut it off
Good for you.
a long time ago.
So
Yeah.
you were very strong. I had a long ways to go. I had a lot of learning to do before I could get to that point.
Yeah. Well, that's not to say that the remnants didn't take a long time to
Right. There's always the
work out on my
aftershock.
system.
Yeah,
Right.
there's always the aftershocks. I
Yeah.
am really hoping that, some of these negative people in my life can just move on now and go pick up someone else and, that
Yeah.
to engage with, I don't need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, and they will, because they're not getting anything now.
Right.
They're not getting any energy from you.
No, and I'm moving on. I've got so much
Oh
going
yeah.
on with my 4-book series.
Yeah.
Yeah, books. I don't have the books yet because they're coming out this week.
Yeah.
But books, let's see. One's green. I got to put it close here because I have a green screen. But
Yeah.
books 2 and 3 of True Deceit, False Love.
Uh-huh.
Also, Don, an abuser with a mask on, and the mask is slipping because that's kind of what
Ah.
happens. But the first book in the series were terms and phrases, actually 15,555 terms and phrases on
Uh-huh.
domestic violence, narcissistic
Wow.
and parental alienation. The second book is acrostic poetry, which I have actually done my entire life, where you put a word vertically and then you write
Uh-huh.
information or emotional responses to something related to that word. And
Interesting.
that was very, very healing, and something like I said, I've done my whole life. So acrostic poetry came very naturally to me. And then the third book is a survivor's workbook for other people that if they find writing to be an avenue that could be healing for them, then this workbook, they're going to be, they can't be sold as a set. I'm with Balboa Press, which is Hay House Publishing.
Oh,
And
uh-huh. Yeah.
Hay House.
Oh yeah. Very
Yeah,
well
so
put.
they
Yeah.
don't put out sets, but that you can actually pick up the books together. And if money is tight, which it is for so many people, the e-versions of these books are only $3.99.
Wow.
And they're just paperbacks and fairly small. The first book in the series is $15.55. I kind of went on the play on the numbers. But my spiritual fiction, God Came to My Garage Sale, that's $11.99, but it's found in bookstores across the nation, actually internationally, for $10.
Wow.
But again, you can get the e-version for $3.99. So it's very reasonably priced, to pick up if a survivor's workbook would help you. And then I do have a 4th book in the series, which I'm working on right now, which is free verse poetry.
Oh, how neat.
But I'm just sort of doing that when I feel like it, because I live in the Caribbean and I've enjoyed my life here.
Yeah.
In my surroundings, but I want to spend more time enjoying my life. So yeah, just living life.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. Yeah. And not as long as the books and everything don't take you back into the
right.
No.
And they
as long
don't.
as they're a tool to move forward.
They're like a release. And and also for my alienated adult children, if they choose to at some point figure out what happened and want the truth, they can look me up and they can look up my books and say, wow, mom really did love me. And I knew that because I knew her into my 20s, but they can put the pieces of their own journey puzzle together.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, and and if it's not in this lifetime, it's not in this lifetime. I they know how much I love them. So that's not anything that was different than it was from the day they were born.
Yeah.
So, but they can look me up and they can see what I talk about and maybe put the pieces of their own journey puzzle together, like I said. But no, this has been actually very releasing and definitely moving forward. At some point, I mean, I have, of course, a lot of speaking engagements and book signings and podcast interviews and TV appearances, which is new for me to be on TV. But that's all coming together because I've met so many neat people, and somehow my topics resonate with others. You know, a lot of times domestic violence is something that people just don't want to talk about. They kind of keep hidden because of shame and guilt and fear. Fear is a big thing. I mean, and the abusers want you in a perpetual state of fear. But you know, at some point, you know, I can move on to some other things. I've never, ever been at a loss of something to do or somewhere to go. So, you know, I've never been someone that ever found myself bored or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh, no, you don't seem like that type.
No, there's always something to do. Some place to explore.
Well, and I think the other thing that's important for people to understand is that domestic violence isn't just physical violence.
Oh yeah, no, mine only became physical at the end, which was devastating in itself. I probably should have reported it, but there were a number of things. I actually tried to get the authorities involved in a few, you know, other kind of activities that were happening, and you know, not everyone wants the truth. Even the authorities, and the court systems and everything, they don't necessarily support victims and survivors. So, you know, I've learned that goodness and love will prevail. Justice doesn't always, but goodness and love will prevail eventually. So that's what's important. Well, I'm not a revengeful person. I'm not
No. The justice system isn't any happier about dealing with all these things,
right? Sure.
Than anyone else, and they can hide a lot better, and close their eyes and look the other way. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, eventually, truth prevails.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Absolutely. You know, and you know, what can I say, that what comes to mind is that you becoming yourself, you know, really just becoming this other person who was there all along, but you know, you hadn't been able to let it out. And that's, I hate to use this word because I know it's not correct, but it's kind of your own revenge.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I don't like the word revenge.
No, and I'm not a fan of that word revenge either, because that's certainly not anything of the makeup of who I am as a person. But I think the consequence for people that are loving and good is that you get to live a happy life free from the abuse. That's what it is.
And,
you know,
and they're not.
No, they have to live in their own world and navigate their own things. Every now and then there are people that you know, come to realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't have acted that way. You know, one person that comes to mind that had a revelation and also had the skills and ability to do something with that revelation is Dr. Sam Vaknin. He is a self-proclaimed narcissist. He's from North Macedonia. And he is a professor of psychology, and he is anyone that follows anything domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, even parental alienation, they know of Sam Vaknin. And he ended up writing the foreword to my first book of the series,
wow.
Deceit, False Love. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, but he is someone that in his previous life was extremely abusive. He knows that he's still a narcissist. He's one of the few that will actually, that got diagnosed, because these people don't think anything's wrong with them. They are above the law. They believe they're superior to anyone and everyone. And they, that's just how they operate. And Dr. Vaknin, he does realize that he still has these tendencies. It's not like you can fix these people, but his awareness has really changed his life. And his beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, very intelligent wife, Lydia, she is also his publisher. They really get it. And so he's able to self-actualize, and move from this. But I would say the majority of people, they have to kind of live in their own little world. And, they can get more victims. They can, I mean, think of that. I'm a loving, good person, very honest. And I was completely snowed by this, but part of it was also my own issues, as well as my own dreams of wanting to have children. And so, I wouldn't trade my journey for anything, even though there were so many challenges, so much emotional, and then later on physical pain. I have these two beautiful children as a result. And even though I'm alienated from them, being a mom was like my greatest joy. And so I got to experience 2 decades of being a mom and providing so much love and guidance and fun, and, trying to help them be the independent and the best people that they could be. So I really had the best of all worlds, I think.
Yeah, no, and I think the important part is that you realize it.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line.
And I'm spending the rest of my life with my best friend who gets it too.
Yeah.
He really gets it. Yeah. Very supportive, very honest.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Very, very, just a wonderful partner, but also, and so very intelligent. So I'm always learning from him as well, but we just make a good team, and
sounds like it.
and have a lot of fun together too. Yeah. In fact, this afternoon we're going to get out on his sailboat and just hang out in the water and the ocean.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. So maybe we should probably wind up here.
Sure.
Yeah. So what in one sentence or 2 sentences would you tell people I don't know, not necessarily just what to do. Maybe it's more of what to look for. What to and then what to do. You know what I mean? It's
well, that's very 2 different kind of questions.
Yeah,
so definitely what to do is kind of reflect on your own life, on what your values are, and what you have gone through and where you would like to be, and start moving and making steps towards that. And little steps are the best steps. Things don't just happen overnight. You need to kind of put the ball in motion. So I would say, what to do, just kind of look at your relationships and your situations and your job and your health, and, just all of that, and just make an inventory of where you're at and where you'd like to be, and what steps do you need to take to get to that, to achieve your goals, and reward yourself when you accomplish something, and don't be so hard on yourself, because
Yeah.
we have a tendency to just be like, oh my God, I should have known that, or I should have done this, or
Yes.
if
Yes.
I had only done this, then this would have been
Right.
better. We can't go backwards. We can only
Yeah.
go forwards.
That's right.
But living in the present is very important. And then
Oh, thank you. Yes.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
my favorite.
Living in the
Gee,
present and being
yes.
mindful, definitely. Um, we can't change the past, we can't control the future.
No.
And so we can only kind of control ourselves and where we're at. We can't
That's right.
control other people and what might happen, so,
Yeah.
but then also some parting words to your audience would be, hey, we all have had challenges. All of our stories are unique, and we've all been through a lot, whether we've shared it with other people or not. But if you handle these life's challenges with love, honesty, compassion, and goodness, then you will move towards a more positive outcome for yourself. It's kind of like what we put out there, our intentions, is kind of what gets realized. So if we are very negative and only see the dark, that's all we're going to see. But if
that's all we're going to get too.
Right. So if we see the possibility of a positive, happy life and move towards that, that's what you'll get as well. So handle life's challenges with love and goodness.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Well, it's working for me.
Yeah, no, it's working for me too.
Good.
So I agree. I totally agree. Okay. Well, we will wrap this up.
Sure.
I'll say my usual, even though we didn't talk much about medicine or medical things, that I'm not a doctor. Neither, well, you're a doctor, but not that kind.
No, no. So actually, we don't diagnose. We don't,
right.
offer legal advice or emotional suggestions. No. You are not a doctor, but I'll tell you, Susan, your podcast is fantastic. And I've really enjoyed tuning in to the various guests that you have and the different topics that you have on being healthy after 50. And so actually, even though we didn't talk about medical things, our mental mindset has a lot to do with our physical health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Totally. I mean, much more than most people think. I mean, it's just, it's incredible. Yeah. So anyways, okay. So I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. And if you are having medical problems, please go and see a doctor. And that's about it. So thank you so much for being on. I really enjoyed it.
Sure.
It's been a real pleasure.
Well, thank you,
to
Susan.
get to know
thank
you
so much for taking an interest in my books, True Deceit, False Love. And like I said, people can follow me. I'm not on social media, but my website, www.godcametomygarage which you said you'd put in the show links. That's where you can find me and see what I'm up to and read about different books. And I also try to promote other people's work as well, to kind of open other people's eyes to, there are some neat people out there with some great advice and great resources.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Okay. So thank you very much again. Really appreciate you being on the show. Great information for a lot of people.
Wonderful.
And for all of the rest of you out there, I will be talking to all of you very soon.
Take care.